To all the listeners and the viewers, Happy New Year and welcome back to Stuck in My Thoughts. It's the place you want to be to hear a one-of-a-kind POV. To start off the new year, we have two special guests with us, Miss Derrian Gobourne and Miss Leigh Oldham. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, you girls are both gymnasts for Auburn gymnastics team. Y'all have a high-profile team, high-talent team. When y'all first start doing gymnastics? Because that's not something you just jump into.
Right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I started when I was 7 years old, so that's pretty late for a gymnast. They usually start like with mommy and me classes at like 2. And so I was a competitive gymnast, and there was like a gymnastics gym like right next to it. And one day I just looked inside and I was like, this is really cool. And I had to really like convince my mom to let me go. Like, she would not let me go for the longest time, but when she did, it really just took off. So.
That's what's up. What about you, Morgan?
I started when I was 2.5, just like she said, in mommy and me classes. And there were a bunch of girls in it, like 8 girls, but me and this one other girl who was the coach's daughter, she and I were like just running around nuts, like flipping at 2 years old, and they were like, this is not normal. So they put us in like regular gymnastics classes, not mommy and me anymore. And then by the time I was 3 or 4, I was competing.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you guys transitioned from Little League gymnastics to high-level D1 gymnastics. What was that like? Like, give the people more of an insight of like that experience from the recruiting standpoint. Usually don't gymnasts get recruited like really young? Things like that. So when did that recruiting process start for y'all?
So it's kind of different now, but back when we were in JO, we got recruited really young. Like I remember I was in like 8th grade, and like if you think about it, it's like what do you really know about like colleges? You know, like where you want to go. But I was lucky enough to pick a really great school, and I picked somewhere that was a really great fit for me.
Yeah, so I feel like I had a not very traditional way of going about it. Same though, I was recruited all throughout middle school. I got my first offer in 8th grade, which is just way too young. And so, like she said, they've switched it now to be a junior to try to make it later. But I originally committed to Arkansas as a freshman in high school. And so then I was committed to Arkansas all throughout high school. I was committed to Arkansas. And then National Signing Day, I decommitted and recommitted within 2 hours to Auburn because I tore my labrum as a junior in high school, and they were like, we recruited you for bars. And I was like, no, you recruited me for all around. And they were like, well, we really need you to do bars. Well, I tore my labrum. I was like,
can't do that.
I was like, yeah, like that's not gonna, I was like, if that's what we're relying on, like that's not gonna work. And so just spent the whole summer kind of calling different schools, looking at best options. And my dream school was Auburn. My mom went here, and I only ever wanted to go here, but the recruiting stage is tough. And so whenever people are looking different places and they only have a certain amount of scholarships, that's also kind of what took me to Arkansas. And then I called Auburn, and they had a walk-on position, and then I came in my sophomore year here. I earned a scholarship.
That's what's up. Nice walk-on story. I like that. Okay. So you guys go from early recruitment, get to college, get this experience, then it rises up. You're D1 athletes. Everybody knows the stigma of D1 athletes, especially on the girl side. You girls are both beautiful ladies. You guys can do a bunch of flips at a high level that a lot of people can't do. You know, you start getting attention, and doing my research, both of you combined are close to like 50K followers. One of you over here is verified as well. So I would expect there's a lot of people shooting their shot in the DMs. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So like, I want to know, is that like a valid thing? You know, do you pay attention to that? Like, would you give any guy a shot that's shooting in the DMs?
It really just depends, like, who it is. I guess, like, there's, like, really creepy old guys. Like, obviously, I'm definitely going to ignore that. But it kind of just depends, like.
Lots of sugar daddies.
Yeah, and like, it.
I'm kidding. I really wish I were kidding.
It depends on, like, what you say. Because some people just come out and they're, like, reckless. And I'm like, why would you say that? But if it's, like, sweet, or if it's just, like, something that's, like, kind, then I'm like, okay, maybe I might give it the time of day. But if it's just, like, reckless, or it's just, like, a sugar daddy, I'm not.
That's funny. Because I feel like one of my experiences is that if you have like, I think that they're so cheesy. I think pickup lines are so cheesy. But if you have like a good one that like makes me laugh or catches my attention, and I'm like, that one took some thought, then I think I would respond to it, because I'd be like, I got respect for the bold action that you took to like say like, well, let me take you out. And I'm like, well, but then if someone like that one, I'm like less likely, I'll be like, okay, well, you and you. But if someone's like, comes at me with like this like really good like, oh my gosh, my phone broke and like I don't have,
or my ball rolled here, let me get it back.
I need help, like can you help me or something, like this whole story, I'm like, now I'm interested, like I
always wondered, like, especially from the guy's perspective, like how serious does a girl take a guy to like hit them in their DMs? Because like, say you don't have their number, you don't have a mutual friend, how is she going to get in contact with them? But majority of the time, if guys do shoot, or vice versa, if a girl shoots, which I would say is pretty rare, but there are bold girls out there. If they do shoot, how serious you're going to take them, especially being like, famous and high profile like y'all are. So just wondering.
I
wonder how like legitimately, I don't know. I feel like I would have to have a mutual friend on there, or just, because like for safety reasons, one, because you would want to know, or, I mean, sometimes like, I remember in like, for me, I'll get verified like LSU baseball players or like swimmers or LSU, lots of people from LSU apparently. And then just like minor / major league baseball players, like transitioning, I get some of those, but like she's got a lot of NFL players. That's the funniest one. She come in and she comes like, she's like, she comes in the t-shirt of like, it's not even their t-shirt. It doesn't have to be, but it's like the team. And I was like,
You're holding out info. You got an NFL player DM you?
Yeah, but it's like me, to think of me, I'm very like standoffish, like in person, not in a mean way, that's just like how I am. So you can only imagine like how it would feel like if someone was kind of like shooting their shot in the DM. I'm kind of just like I'm kind of just like, okay, like it's cool, but I'm not.
You gonna shout them out?
Am I, no. No, I'm not.
So that's like the only thing that I feel like if you're another athlete, like if it's something that we respect, you got a little bit more.
You'll get like a response, but I'm not gonna really take you seriously because like I don't know you.
Because and then also what's tough for us sometimes is, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, but a lot of the guys will say stuff that like we've heard before. So if you say something, that's what we're not with the conventional. So if you're like, well, let me take you out. Okay, well like that was so original. Thank you. Like you know what I mean? Like we're gonna be like, we're gonna look at that and be like,
you want some
nice
spice.
to meet you, but
we're not
gonna act on that. But like if someone does something that's completely different, or takes the time to like do something nice, or text you out of the blue or random, and it's just something that gets your attention, that's when I feel like we'd be more likely to be like interested in. Oh, okay, maybe I should look again.
Boys, y'all better do something to, stand out from the rest.
Yeah, the blue check mark is not going to do it all.
That's not.
And
not enough.
And then they'll be like, let me fly you out. And you're like, this ain't the first time I heard that. No, like they say that all the time. They
fly
all
you
do.
out.
Oh yeah, they're like, let me get you to my games. Let me put you in my jersey. Oh yeah, you and all the other ones.
Yeah, I ain't want to go for the experience.
No, absolutely not.
I respect it.
I would though. I would go for the experience. I'd be like, okay, well, LAX on the court. Yeah, I'll be there.
That was nice. I'm going to keep going after that. I feel you.
Lakers courtside? All right. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'd be like, whose jersey? Okay.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's get back on to, what do you call it, the mat? What do you call it? Like football is the field for gymnastics.
Calls
the arena?
The arena?
Or
they call it the mat.
Like the basketball,
we
like
don't
the
call
court.
it that.
What do you guys call it?
The floor.
The floor.
Floor, yeah.
Let's get back to the floor of gymnastics. So you guys, like I said before, high talented athletes competing at this level, in college, just like track and field in a way, there's not necessarily, there is professional, but, the big aspiration is toward, the Olympics, representing the USA, Team USA. And when I was doing my research on gymnastics, there's a lot of big similarities between track and field, which I do. And so do you guys, growing up, did you guys have those role models or look at people at that level, like a Usain Bolt or things like that, competing at the Olympic stage as far as gymnastics goes?
Oh, definitely. I had Dominique Dawes and Gabby Douglas and Simone Biles, which are all women of color. And that was special to me because I was one of the only Black girls in my gym. So I was like, well, if they can be this high level athlete, like so can I. So they were really inspirational when I was growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had also seen the one that Cadillac talked about that, and where he was like, well, when you can see something, you can recreate that. Or I thought that was really cool. I had a gymnast in my club gym, and her name was also Morgan. I go by Morgan Lee, but her name was Morgan Smith, and she was incredible. And I just remember that she was trying out for the Olympics. My coach was an Olympian, and she was just grinding, and she was an incredible gymnast. But the one thing I remember about her was her work ethic. Like, no matter what it was, she was extremely talented. She might not have been the most talented on the national team, but no one was going to outwork her. And I just took that and I was like, okay, look, like, and she always walked out of there. She always looked so serious, which was completely different for me because I was just like a goofball. But I was like, I just loved how hard she worked. And no matter what it was, she was going to try to do it the best she could. And so that was really cool for me just to grow up and watch her. And she was just kind of like my big sis. It was always Morgan and Morgan Lee. So it was fun. And she was very successful, went to Michigan and did gymnastics. And so, yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So we talk about, USA Gymnastics being at this high level in this, prestige program organization. And a few years back, we saw that there were some issues between USA Gymnastics and some other gymnasts on the team. And so with those misconducts and those scandal allegation things going on, how can we as gymnasts yourselves, how can we further ensure that those, misconduct issues don't happen again?
I would say, I think we need background checks for the coaches first and foremost, because there's been so many, just things going on, and there's just, you don't really know about it until the girls speak up. But it's kind of just like anybody can be a gymnastics coach, and I don't think that's right. And so I just feel like it would be just a lot better. A lot of the girls have had so many trauma stories, and I've been blessed to have really great coaches, but just to hear what a lot of gymnasts went through is really heartbreaking. And there definitely needs to be a change.
Yeah, I completely agree with the background checks. We've talked about this a lot, that the coaching aspect of it is hard, especially when the former leaders of the USAG were not originally from this country, so which is great, and that shows a lot of diversity, and we love that. However, they have different values sometimes, and the way that their culture, their background works is just a little bit different. And I do believe that they were from an area around Russia, which I'm not exactly sure on that, but just those ways of coaching and of discipline are very different than what we experience in the U.S. And so I think with a majority of the girls who are coming there from the U.S., it's hard to discipline in a way that may be normal to them. So while they didn't think they were doing anything wrong, it looks like abuse to us. Or it looks like it's just something that 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds shouldn't go through. And yes, you're making elite athletes, but the NFL is also making elite athletes. Track is making elite athletes doing something completely different. And so that also just shows that maybe research should be going into not only just gymnastics coaches, but how to make every sport better, and how to emotionally connect with any athlete and change the culture to provide encouragement rather than just solely results. Yeah, because for us, I feel like it's always been a lot, we are a perfect sport, right? So everything we do, we're only going to decrease. We only get deductions. So that's an already mentally challenging sport, because you're never going to be perfect. And so it's just different. It's not making a PR. It's how much can I not lose, right? And so that's just a tough way to go into it. And so whenever these coaches are consistently, that's not enough, that's not enough, that's not good enough, all these stuff, when you're 8 years old, you don't know the difference. And so I think that just being able to not only do background checks, but also maybe offer clinics of just a different environment, and making a standard of what the environment for USAG should look like, I think is a really big step, and that could help a lot.
That's what's up right there. Yeah, I talked to you guys before the show started. I watched that Athlete A documentary, and you talked about the coaches, different perspectives and pushing those athletes through those injuries. There was a lot of things in that documentary I was like, this is crazy. The girl, I can't remember her name, but she ended up winning, but she was doing on a broken leg and things like that. And I was like, this is just wild. And you talked about, you had a labrum tear in high school, and there's a lot of injuries. Everybody knows about the injuries in gymnastics. A lot of, things they have to fight through. And so knowing the what's the word I even want to use? Knowing the, challenges that come with the sport, the things you have to overcome as far as injuries and the mental aspect. Would you guys let your children pursue gymnastics in the future, knowing all the things that they may have to go through?
I absolutely would. I think that, and kind of like Derrian and I, we both have worked really hard as women to be where we are now. And while gymnastics is extremely difficult, any sport is in their own way. And so I feel like I would, if my daughter wanted to go into it, or son.
Or son.
I don't.
Or son.
Yeah, I just don't know couldn't personally relate to him on gymnastics, because men's gymnastics is a little bit of a different playing field. But if my daughter or son wanted to go into it, I would let them, because I would know how to encourage them through the process. And if that's what their heart desired, then I'm not going to take that away from them. Would it come as a challenge to a parent? Probably. It would probably bring me more challenges. But if that's what they loved, then that's what I would go through with. I do think that it's taught us a lot. And if I'm here now and on the opposite end of it and still love the sport, then I think that I could lead her and protect her, but also it would create a respectable young woman. So,
what about you?
Well, I wouldn't not let my child do something that they'd want to do. It would always be up to them, but I wouldn't put that in front of them.
Right.
I wouldn't be like, well, I did gymnastics. You should look into this. Gymnastics is really interesting. It's been life-changing for me. I've had some very high highs and some very low lows. And so I don't know. I feel like I would want her to kind of branch off. I feel like you can learn so much doing other things. Like gymnastics takes up a lot of time. It beats up your body. There's just so much that goes into that. And so that would be hard to watch my daughter go through, or my son, knowing a lot of the things that I had to go through. And so, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't be like, no, you can't do it, stay away from that sport. Yeah. But I would definitely push other things.
Yeah.
I actually really agree with that, though. Just knowing the physical, the mental, and watching her go through it, and just the tears. And I also think that I wouldn't not let them do it, but it would not be the first sport that I would introduce. But if they ended up finding it, I would be like
basketball,
you can go.
you wouldn't just.
But I would be I would put them in a school that has soccer and track and field and basketball or swimming.
Just get them on the track.
I would do any of those.
I always wanted to run track for some reason, but I never had the time, because gymnastics is so time demanding, and I don't want that. I don't want my daughter to go through that. Or son. I want them to be able to have time to do things that they love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And education is extremely important. And it's hard, because when you're talented, it's hard to decide, do I want to go to the Olympics or do I want a life? And that's really hard to decide when you have the talent option, because you're like, well, if I don't use it, am I going to regret it? Or if I do use it, am I going to regret it? And so I think you do need the education. You do need the social skills. You do need the multiple athletics experience, and trying different things. I think I did soccer for a little bit, but you don't get any time to do anything else. You can't do multiple sports.
Yeah.
It's tough.
You talk about that balance, y'all been talking about that balance a lot, and especially at the collegiate level, gymnastics already takes up a lot of time. And now with the introduction of NIL to the space, how are you able to balance, we want to make this money, but we also have to do what we're here to do, and that's, get good grades and perform. So how are you able to balance that? Because both of you guys are in NIL space.
I think having an agent is very life-saving for me. It also depends on the agent. I had a really bad agent in the beginning, just doing some really cruel things. And so, but now I have a really great agent. Shout out to Raymond Representation. He's literally the best. And so he makes that a lot easier for me. He finds all of my deals, and I really just kind of have to shoot the content. And so, that's kind of easy, I guess, but still kind of finding time to shoot that content and making it the best that I can make it. It can be kind of I don't know the word,
stressful,
yeah,
time
stressful, and it's like a time crunch kind of.
Yeah, and it's almost
yeah,
it's hard, because you get to the point that you're exhausted, and then you're like, oh, I have this.
Yeah.
And you're but you want to get it done. And the thing is that I think for both of us, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think it's also something we want to do. And so we like being in that space.
Yeah.
And when you're tired, but you're doing something you want to do, you get energy from it.
Yeah.
And so I think like, it's just like gymnastics. We're tired and it's hard, but we want to do it and we want to get better. And so NIL is the same way for us, is it's another outlet for us to work on our craft or branch out to new people or work on making connections for future endeavors. And so I think that while it can be tough, any job can. And so it's balancing what you want in life. And I think that we both have gone after what we want, and that's what fuels our passion.
Yeah, that's what's up, because I didn't realize how, I guess I should have, how time demanding, also stressful gymnastics is alone. And then, athletes, like, we're still learning about NIL. So we're still trying to learn, like, okay, what are the things we want to do? You can't say yes to every deal. And you're like, okay, I got to shoot this thing for this company, but I still got homework. I just got to practice. I don't really feel like it, but I got to do it. And so that's why I wanted to know the balance between that, because a lot of people having a tough time, like nobody really knows how athletes feel unless you hear from like other athletes, like getting advice, different things of like how to manage that. And so it's good to get different perspectives, like we said. All right, girls, on my show, we have these things called the DropBox Questions. And so I'm going to give one question to each of you. We're going to call you Mo.
Perfect.
Good? Okay, Mo, we're going to start with you. Okay, what would you say about the village it takes within an individual sport?
Ooh, that's amazing. That's a good question. This was very evident that it does take a village, especially in an individual sport. By making it to the Final Four, I think we really got a taste. And to start off, I want to say not only does it take a village, but it takes a committed and engaged and caring village. And so, because you can be a village, but if you're not united, you're not going anywhere. And so you see the 6 people out there, but what you don't see is the alternates that worked their booty off to make sure that the people who are in lineup were the best they could be. Or what you don't see is the girls on the sidelines who are injured, who are cheering, who are making sure that everyone has what they need to be the most successful. What you don't see are the meals that are prepared for us beforehand, the meals that are given to us afterwards, the minute-by-minute planning schedule that our director of ops does, or that our nutritionist, our dietitian, that what he does. All of those things, our strength coach, every single thing that we do has been intentional 11 months beforehand. I mean, last year in May, right after we finished the Final Four, our coaches, our staff members, our teammates, everyone was preparing for what we will experience in this coming up April. And so I think that the village, it's more than just the 6 you see on the mat. And it's about the love and about the fight and about the grit, but it's on every single person. And it takes more than a coach. It takes more than just one person. It takes more than the 6. And you need every single person doing their job the best they can to get somewhere.
That's what's up. I like that answer. All right, Derrian, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, you kind of spoke on this earlier. What is your Mount Rushmore of gymnastics, your top 4 gymnasts of all time?
Ooh, that's good.
Top 4 gymnasts of all time. Okay. Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, Dominique Dawes, and I'm going to have to say Trinity Thomas.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Ooh, that's good. Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respect on that one.
I need to look her up, learn some more information on her.
I forgot to mention this earlier. Do you know who Demu Cherry is? She was a hurdler. But
I should know this. I'm not a hurdler, everybody. I'm a high jumper, so I need to.
Right, but I do know she was a track. She actually founded me because we were at and so I don't even know why she was in the gym. Like I worked at the NTC, the National Training Center in Orlando, and she ran track down at the bottom of it. And so she had come up and started working for the gym I was at. And
both of you guys from Florida, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we grew up.
Yes.
We grew up with each other.
In the gymnastics world, do you know?
Oh yeah.
So y'all knew about each other?
We were competing against each other. She's at this her birthday is in January, so happy birthday month.
Thank you.
But we're a year apart, so she was born in 1999.
2000.
Oh, 2000. So, but I was born in 2000, so she's on the January. I'm December of the same year. So we were always either together or split up just by a year.
Yeah, we would see each other all the time.
Oh, yeah, we started competing against each other.
We were
4,
tiny,
5.
itty bitty.
Yeah, 4 and 5, and it was always just every meet, always.
That's crazy how it goes, because the track world is tight knit. about some people, and especially like within the state, like like okay, so and so is coming to the meet, or like
Oh,
so-and-so's
yeah.
gonna be
Yeah,
here.
that's it. Like your mom's gonna be like, well, so and so is gonna be at the meet, so you better like,
Yeah,
like,
you better like
you kick it into gear. Like,
They'd be
okay.
like, I know. And my mom be like, you competed against her. I was like,
Yeah.
really?
Dang.
Like, I just forget. But me, Diggy, and then me and Sydney, we were always 1, 2, and 3.
That's what's
We just
up.
switched it.
Dude, that's what's up. I will be at a gymnastics meet this year. I've seen them on video, but like I didn't go here. I just transferred here. So like when the time comes, I'm gonna be there. And y'all need to be there. Everybody watching this video.
That's true.
Come support the ladies this year. Girls, thank you guys for being on the show today. So
Thank you so much for having us. This was
yeah,
awesome.
This is a great little conversation. And for everybody watching or listening to this video, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the video, and give us a 5-star rating. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next one. We out.
Yes.